If you're a student of Massachusetts politics, you may have noticed we elect a lot more Democrats than we do Republicans. That's mostly because of the state's liberal leanings, but at least one group argues our campaign finance laws may also play a role. Right now, Massachusetts law bans businesses from making political contributions to candidates as well as to political parties and committees. However, labor unions are allowed to contribute as much as $15,000. Last year, the Arizona-based Goldwater Institute filed a lawsuit saying it wants to level the playing field. One of the plaintiffs, Michael Kane, owns a small self-storage facility in Ashland. He's also a director at Mass Fiscal Alliance. And when the suit was filed, he called it a simple issue of fairness.
We hire people. We create jobs. We pay taxes. And we should have a voice in the political arena in Massachusetts. Now, the unions are able to give $15,000 whether they're in-state or out-of-state. You know, we have the last mayoral election, Mayor Walsh got donations from all over the country. Are their interests stronger than my interests in the state of Massachusetts? I don't think so.
This afternoon, a Suffolk Superior Court judge took up the case. Joining me now is the man who argued it, Jim Manley, senior attorney at the Goldwater Institute. Good to see you, Jim. And Andrew Upton, an attorney who specializes in administrative law and government relations and opposes this effort. Andrew, it's good to see you, too. I understand level the playing field is your notion. Whatever the unions can do, you want businesses to be able to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I hate to get off on the wrong foot, but it's not really about partisan politics here. It's just about businesses and unions having an equal voice. We think it's wrong that one side of the bargaining table would be shut out of the political process.
You're not getting on the wrong foot. Someone who supported your lawsuit was actually quoted saying that thing. So what's the legal, even if fairness and level playing field, all words that are very appealing to people, what's the legal basis for this thing without giving us a headache?
Well, that's the legal basis. It's the Equal Protection Clause. It requires the government to treat like entities the same. And for purposes of political corruption, that's the interest that the government's pursuing when it regulates campaign finance. And for that purpose, businesses and unions are the same.
What's wrong with the level playing field, Andrew?
The idea that businesses and unions are exactly the same misses the point.
What point?
Unions are made up of hundreds and sometimes thousands of individual workers. Iron workers, steel workers, social workers, who tend to donate $5 or $10 a week to their campaigns. To compare that to a big business and want to open the floodgates to unlimited contributions from businesses far larger than Mr. Cano is not the right.
Well, yeah, big businesses have shareholders. What's the difference between a shareholder who can vote on an issue as compared to a union member who can vote on an issue? And if it's a small business, as you know, a lot of the small businesses are essentially alter egos for individuals, and they often even file their tax returns as individuals.
Union members have to affirmatively decide to contribute to union PACs or treasuries. I can't imagine that the shareholders of General Electric or General Motors are going to be called upon every time the bosses want to make a giant donation to a campaign.
Even if you're right about this, though, do you not appreciate some inequity? That there's this ceiling here of 15 grand for unions, and there's a floor and ceiling of 0 for all businesses of any type and any size. Is that really fair?
There's no prohibition on business owners or business employees giving the maximum donation.
In the same way that there's no prohibition on union members giving a donation as well. And we're not talking about unlimited contributions here. Our argument is just that any legitimate campaign finance laws should apply equally across the board.
Yeah, but even laws that appear to create a level playing field, operationally may not be. Take, for example, what's the individual limit? $1,000 in the state, $2,500 federally. Am I right about that? The reality is most CEOs of these businesses you're concerned about can do the max. Most union leaders, forget union members, union leaders, for the most part, can't write a check for $2,500 or $1,000. So there you have a law with a, quote, level playing field, which operationally is not level at all.
Well, I think we'd have to take a look and see what union bosses are making these days. I would be surprised if they're not maxing out.
Well, I'll give you one, for example. Your people, I think Michael Kane was his name, talked about Marty Walsh. When he was a union leader, made $175 grand. The head of TJ Maxx was in the Globe making $22 million. Obviously, she can do a lot better and meet all these $25,000 or $1,000 thresholds than former head of the building trades, Marty Walsh, can.
Not to mention the unlimited thresholds for super PACs that are predominantly funded by CEOs and business people.
You know, if you're right, though, about this, my understanding is virtually every state, what is it, 7, 8 states are in the situation we are. If the notion of equal treatment is such a horrible idea, why has virtually all of America embraced exactly what he's selling?
And it was 7. It's now 6 because we struck down the law in Kentucky.
So it's even more.
Right. You might say that all of America has embraced some values that Massachusetts is not comfortable with just in the last month.
Well, there are a lot, but that's 40-some states. This is not like, we're really aberrational here. Would you not agree?
You know, the idea that we have progressive government that seeks to level the playing field is not aberrational. It's the right thing to do.
How about the compromise here, which I'm assuming you would buy into? Instead, give him what he wants, but not allowing businesses to contribute $15,000. Let unions contribute nothing. If individual members want to do it, fine. If union leaders, he calls them bosses, I'll call them leaders. If union leaders want to make a contribution, that's fine. Doesn't that level the playing field? That way, union members and their leaders can do whatever they want to do.
I think that's a legislative battle.
Would you support that?
No, I think that's a legislative battle that people on his side have already lost.
That's a decision that the
government has
Constitution
spoken.
takes away from the legislature.
Meaning what?
Because the First Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause require equal treatment. It's not for the legislator to pick and choose which voices matter in Massachusetts
Is
politics.
money a speech, this old Buckley v. Vallejo 48, is that the threshold of this thing for you, or is it not?
Well, I mean, that's settled. There's no question that money is useful for making speech impactful. And by giving money to a candidate, you're associating yourself with a candidate. There's free speech and free association rights involved.
I want to quote, Michael Caine said something that was very powerful to me on its face when he was in that video. He said, you know, a union from out of state can make a contribution, while I as an in-state business can't do anything. You're an out-of-state entity coming into our state trying to tell the courts how Massachusetts should govern. Why is what's good for the goose not good for the gander? Why shouldn't Massachusetts make its own decision without your help?
Well, I'm here providing pro bono legal assistance. That's what we do. We do that all across the country whenever the Constitution is threatened. And so, I mean, I don't think where I live is really relevant.
Well, why should it be relevant if it turns out somebody in Minnesota...
It's not relevant to what the law is.
Why should it matter if somebody from Minnesota, a business or a union, wants to make a contribution to a local candidate? That's legal. Why should that be a problem?
Well, I think it's an entirely different situation. I'm not trying to influence Massachusetts elections. I'm just telling the court what the law is. And the court needs to decide that this
when are you going to have
ban is
a decision on this thing?
It could be. We had a last-minute change of who our judge was, and so it'll be a little bit longer, maybe 30, 60 days.
You have 15 seconds to finish up.
Money shouldn't be speech. There shouldn't be unlimited contributions, and businesses are not the political, moral, or ethical equal of working people.
We'll leave it there, and I'm sure it's going to go to the next higher court, so we'll probably see the two of you again. Pleasure
Thank
to meet
you.
you. Thanks so much. Pleasure to see you as well.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Jim.
your time.